Today, you and I together, we are going to test our knowledge of the 10 most interesting trending words from 2018. Now, I was looking at some definitions in a dictionary the other day, and I saw this link and it said, test your knowledge of these trending words. And I thought, why don't I make a video on this and we can play along together? So I haven't taken this quiz before. I'm not sure how well I'm going to do, but I want you to play along too. So I'm going to bring up the questions on the screen, give you the multiple choice answers, and we're going to play this game together. Now, speaking of definitions, trending means that something is currently popular or wildly discussed online, especially on social media websites. So let's get straight into it and play this game. Click start. Number 1. Oh, a person described as salty is critical and unpleasant with people who are less intelligent than them, depressed and lonely because a relationship has ended, angry and upset because of disappointment or defeat. I know what this means, and it's either 1 or 3. Critical and unpleasant with people who are less intelligent than them. Angry and upset because it's the 3rd one. All right, let's try it. Angry and upset. Yes. Fantastic. As well as describing something that tastes or smells of salt, the adjective salty is commonly used in online gaming communities to describe someone who's frustrated or bitter because they've been beaten. Yeah, salty. I'm going to start using this in everyday English, to be salty. You're being salty right now. Stop being so salty. Are you being salty? Now, I will say at this point, these are always used in specific circumstances. So, don't always force these types of words, but they're good to know. Okay, let's go to the next question. What is a French tuck? An invisible tuck that can make an item of clothing slightly larger or smaller. A way of tucking a shirt into a waistband so that it's partly in and partly out. A hidden pocket in the garments of French noblemen used to store money and other valuables. So I think it's number 2. What do you think? A way of tucking a shirt into a waistband so that it's partly in and partly out. I think it's that one. Let's try it. Yes. Having part of your shirt tucked in and part of it hanging loose might just be due to lack of time or attention to detail. But in 2018, it became a fashion trend courtesy of style guru Tan France, who popularized the term French tuck via the US reality TV series Queer Eye, suggesting that it can give an air of casual sophistication to what you're wearing. I find this very uncomfortable. I either want my shirt tucked in or untucked. And this is interesting actually, because I remember back in the day when our team played soccer, we used to always tuck our shirts in. Now nobody tucks their shirts in. They all have them untucked. I might try and bring this back. Tuck your shirts in when you play football. What does the verb insource mean? To work within a company and using its own staff, rather than employing other organizations or people. To find out a company's business plans by paying someone who works there to pass on information. Ooh. To produce natural mineral water by drilling into sedimentary rock. I think it's number 1. Because to outsource work is when you hire people outside of the company to do work for you. To outsource. I need to outsource some of my work. If you feel like you can help the Fluency channel, send me an email. Okay? jack@fluency.com. But to insource sounds like it's the opposite. I'm right. I'm doing well so far. The term insource is based on the earlier verb, outsource, used since the 1980s to describe the action of getting work done by people outside of a company rather than by its own employees. Next question. What does the word suffragist refer to? A person who campaigns for people to have the right to vote, especially someone who lawfully supported the voting rights of women in the early 20th century. A female activist who campaigned for women's rights to vote using methods including political demonstrations and hunger strikes in the early 20th century. A bishop who helps another bishop with a higher rank. You know when there's a multiple choice test and there are 2 or 3 answers that are very similar and then one that's random? It's never the random one. I think it's the first one. Lawfully supporting the voting rights. I'm just going to put it. Fantastic. A suffragist is a person, male or female, who supports suffrage, the right to vote, regardless of gender, race, etc. Next question. What or who is a ninja? A person who is an expert in a particular skill. A machine as a cost-effective replacement for human labour. An illustrated novel based on Japanese mythology. I know what this is. It's number 1. And my wife and I were, well, let's see if it's right first. Yes. So, my wife and I were joking or looking at a meme the other day where companies now will post a job saying that you have to be a computer ninja. And they use this word when they write job descriptions all the time. You need to be a marketing ninja. And there are some other terms as well. But it says here the term ninja is a Japanese word with the literal meaning spy. If you spitball, you quickly suggest ideas without thinking about them carefully, roll downhill in a jet-propelled plastic ball, clear your throat loudly as a way of interrupting someone. Okay, I think it's number 1, but it could be number 3. This is just a guess. I don't know this word. I've never heard it before. Quickly suggest ideas without thinking about them carefully. Clear your throat loudly as a way of interrupting someone. I'm going to go with number 1, but it could be number 3. Yes. The verb spitball has been around longer than you think, with its first appearance coming in the 1950s. As a noun, it has been used to describe a ball of chewed paper and a ball in baseball that has been moistened to make it swerve. Very cool. So, quickly suggest ideas without thinking about them carefully. I love that. Sometimes I do it. You know, someone says, I've got this problem. Why don't you do that? Or this? Or this? You don't really think about what the idea is before you say it. To spitball. What is a health halo? A new labelling system giving consumers clearer information about the nutritional value of health foods. A perception that a particular food is good for you, even when there's no evidence to confirm this. A digital headband which tracks weight, exercise, and sleep patterns. Okay, again, 2 answers are very similar. And then there's another answer which is completely different. So again, I'm just going to have to decide based on that criteria. So it's either a new labelling system giving consumers clearer information about the nutritional value of health foods. I think it's that one. Or a perception that a particular food is good for you even when there's no evidence to confirm this. I'm going to say number 1 again. Got it wrong. Incorrect. The word halo describes a circle of light, sometimes drawn around the heads of angels or holy people in religious paintings. The word is often used in a humorous way when referring to a person or thing that is particularly good, well behaved, etc. So it's a perception that a particular food is good for you, even when there's no evidence to confirm this. That's cool. A health halo. Never heard that before. How do I say that? How do I pronounce that? A techlash. A techlash is a strong reaction against technology's influence on 21st century life, resulting from concerns about the decline in face-to-face communication. The use of technology in education resulting from concerns about plagiarism, cheating, etc. Major technology companies resulting from concerns about their power, users' privacy, etc. I think it's either 1 or 2. Technology's influence on 21st century life. Because the word backlash means that there is a response to something, a negative response to something. So let's say you work in a company and you introduce a new policy that says you have to tuck your shirts in at work, and then everyone is angry and they're complaining. There's a huge backlash against this new policy. So it's obviously something to do with that. And number 1 and 3, again, are quite similar. Unless this quiz is just tricky. I think it's number 1. Because there's been a movement against using technology and saying that social media is ruining our lives and that you should get off YouTube. Watch to the end of this lesson at least. But I think it's 1. No. Incorrect. The word techlash is a blend of technology with the word backlash, which describes a strong negative reaction to something that's happened in society. And it was major technology companies resulting from concerns about their power, users' privacy, etc. Yeah, I guess thinking about it now, that makes sense. Because a lot of people were upset about certain social media websites sharing their information and how powerful that they have become. But you can see why I chose number 1 as well. How are you doing so far? I think I've got 6 out of 8. Another word I don't know. Let's see. What is sidebarring? An extreme sport in which participants slide down the staircases of mansions and historic buildings. That sounds like fun. The practice of suddenly texting or looking at your mobile phone when having a face-to-face conversation with someone. When restaurants sell drinks at a small bar area rather than customers buying them with food from the main area. Ooh. Sidebar. I don't think it's number 1. It could be number 2 or number 3. But the practice of suddenly texting or looking at your phone when having a face-to-face conversation with someone. So yeah, and then I was just at work and you won't believe... Sorry, what was that? This happens a lot in real life. Or when restaurants sell drinks at a small bar area rather than customers buying them with food from the main menu. There are times in a multiple choice quiz when you can get really lucky. When you don't know the right answer, but you just choose one and it's correct. I'm going to say number 2. Fantastic. Yes. So a sidebar is a narrow area to one side of a website or printed page which gives extra information. I know this from producing the beautiful To Fluency website, to fluency.com. However, sidebarring as a term for distracted use of a mobile phone whilst talking seems more likely inspired by US courts of law, in which a sidebar is a conversation between lawyers and the judge, which is not heard by the jury. How great is that? That's where it comes from. So the judge and the jury talk about things. Sorry, the lawyers and the judge have a conversation, but the jury can't listen in. So it's like, you're just on your phone while someone's talking. Next question. Diplomacy is a secure web-based platform for exchanging diplomatic information. A sign language used by diplomats who cannot speak the same language. The use of the internet to achieve diplomatic goals. I think it's the use of the internet to achieve diplomatic goals. And I am correct. The word diplomacy is a blend of digital and diplomacy. It popped up. It just appeared in 2018 as a reaction to US President Donald Trump's surprising tendency to use Twitter as a means of communication with and about other political leaders. Very good. View results. I'm a trend tracker. Good job. You're pretty familiar with the latest lingo. So pretty familiar means you're quite familiar. That's quite informal for a dictionary site. You're pretty familiar with the latest lingo. It's more conversational. You know, he's pretty tall. He's pretty funny. That video is pretty good. This has been a pretty good lesson. I hope you have enjoyed it. Let me know how you did. How many did you get right out of 10? Now, again, these words, I didn't know half of these words, maybe 60% of these words. But you can understand the meaning sometimes from the way the word is structured. And these are all trending words. And like it said before, maybe they have been around for a long time, but they have become popular over the last 12 months or so. So again, let me know how well you did. And then also, leave a comment with a trending word right now. And if you want to become fluent in English, then get my book, The 5-Step Plan for English Fluency. You can download this by going to the description, clicking the link, entering your details, and I'll send that book to you. And I'll also have a link to the quiz in the description too. All right, thank you so much for watching this. While you are here, why not watch another video? I'll put 2 on the screen for you now. Again, thanks for being here. Bye-bye.